Hello PinBuilders and welcome. This is going to be a quick video talking about update 3.7.2 and a few new things that are in the game now. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it and try to make it quick. Alright, so let's see, is there something new in settings? We moved this back here so you can see all your actual folder locations for everything. That's there, and nothing is different here except maybe you haven't seen yet that we have a toggle play/edit mode. So tab is the default for that, and you can change that to whatever you want right there. Now I'm going to show you the fun good stuff. Let's see, I'm going to open up Paratrooper, and I'm going to go to the editor. Alright, so you're going to notice a couple of things different in the editor. First of all, you're going to notice that this insert button has been moved over next to these lights. And instead of just being an insert, this is actually lamps and inserts. And what does that mean? Well, if we stick one of these in there, it's going to be your default insert. You can change the color of these here. Let's make it that bright green. And you can also select different types of insert shapes here if you want to. Those are all available. But now there's a new one called lamppost. And what that does is it gives you one of these little lamps and a post. And it is a collidable object in the scene. So if the bulb bumps into it, it will actually bump into it and react to it. You don't want that most likely, as is the case here perhaps. So you might want to just put those in a spot where they can't get hit. Okay, so what can you do with these? Well, they operate the same way that the inserts do. So if I turn it on, now you can see that it's on. And the blinking settings work the same. So if I set that to blink, it'll blink. And I can turn it off. And sometimes that might stay on when you select off, but that's just because it was flashing. It'll still start off and its on state will still be flashing. Just FYI. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. Let's see, what does this one look like? Oh, this is a bright white one. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so we want that off. And now I want to show you, in conjunction with that, we'll just use this. And I'll show you some updates to the timers. So let's look at some logic. I pressed number 3 on the keyboard, not on the keypad, but the keyboard. And that toggled me into this mode, which is logic mode, which you can see right up here. Logic mode, cabinet mode, and edit mode. 1, 2, and 3 up there in the corner. All right, so in order to make this thing flash, what I'm going to do is I have this switch right there, as you can see right here, and a ball spawner here, and then this flasher right here. And I have the switch already set up to do this. The switch will trigger this logic controller, which is a timer. So you select timer down here, and then you can just pick points only if you want to. And then when you do pick timer, this pop-up panel will appear, and you have some options. You can set the timer duration, so the timer will start and then it will expire in 2 seconds. And you can do decimals if you want, down to I think 6 places perhaps. It's pretty fine, but you would never need that. I don't think you would anyways. And so this is 2 seconds. So what I want this to do is basically when the ball rolls over this switch, it's going to hit this, fire this trigger or this logic controller, and then that's going to start a timer for 2 seconds. And at the beginning, what it's going to do is fire the targets. So this is a target, obviously, because it's got the blue arrow going to it. And targets, again, are selected by holding down Shift and then turning them on. So I just added all these to it too, but I don't want those. So I'm going to take those out by Shift clicking them again. Now at the beginning of the timer, so when the switch gets hit, this will fire, this will start the timer, and it'll fire the targets. So this target will start flashing, and it'll flash for 2 seconds, and at the timer's end, it will now do this, which is new as of this update, and that is reset targets. So let's take a look at that. We'll save it, and we'll go take a look at how that works. So I'm going to press the credit button. And now I'm just going to spawn a ball right there over that target, and you'll see the flasher come on for 2 seconds.
Alert.
And that'll just keep...
Alert.
So...
Alert.
Now you don't always have to have a switch controlling a logic controller. So if instead you don't want that switch to do that, or you want another option, you can say, let's say arc lights, you want it to control that flasher also. So you just go over here to flasher, and then when you select flasher, you see that the switch, which is the red line and arrow, and the logic controller, which is the green line and arrow, are both pointing to this, and will fire that when they are triggered. So again, logic controllers are either triggered by another logic controller or by a switch. Now this won't do anything unless there's a switch controlling it, which there is here, but I don't want that actually to control the flasher, so I'll just disconnect that, and you can see that's disconnected there. All right, so let's see, what else? Okay, let's say you make changes, and you see it says you have changes, unsaved changes here. Now, if I hit the tab key to move out of edit mode back into play mode, we're going to see this now, if you have unsaved changes. So if you're like, oh crap, I forgot to save. Oh boy, I better go save. You can hit cancel, and then you can save, and then you can tab, and it'll go over there. Now let's go back, and if I move something slightly, or scale it or rotate it or add something, it'll say you have unsaved changes. And now if I try to go and I just say continue, it's going to switch to play mode, but my changes are not going to be saved. So if I go back to edit mode, you'll see it's hard to tell because I barely moved it, but the spawner is back where it was before I moved it to like right there. All right, so there is also, you should know that if you grab an object and you move it and you press Control Z, you can undo a move. Undoing moving objects is and has pretty much always been an option in the game. So if I move this here and I'm like, I don't want that moved, it'll move it right back where it was. So that's always been an option. Control Z will do that, and I'm trying to think. I don't think that it works yet with scaling. In fact, it doesn't, because hardly anything scales. And what else? It doesn't function with rotation either. So something to keep in mind. That is there. We're actually working on a multi-level undo option, so don't lose hope for that. But we're actually focusing a little bit more right now on integration with Steam Workshop and achievements and stuff like that. But we're not trying to get too wrapped up in too many things at once. So, anyways, all right. What else is new? Let's see. What else is new? What else is new? Oh yeah. Speaking of moving stuff, check this out. All right. Let's say. Now, you know, for the life of the program, we've had this XY coordinate viewer up here, which shows you the XY coordinate of things. And since I alt-tabbed away from the game, we do have some issues with that, and apologize if you're having issues and needing to alt-tab out of your game and stuff. We've noticed that there are some strange issues that occur when we do that as well. Specifically with moving stuff around. So we're working on that as well. But I just wanted to show you right now, you're going to see this new panel down here that says object location. As soon as you grab an object, its position coordinates will appear there. And currently, yes, it is only X and Y, which is flat on the surface. But someday, for some objects, we may incorporate the Z-axis, which in Unreal Engine, the Z-axis is vertical. So that's why it's going to look like that if we incorporate that. We may not use X, Y, and Z as it stands in Unreal. We may just change that. But regardless, now what you can do is if you move this and you want to put it exactly where you want it, like right at 0, press 0, and then when you tab or hit enter, those will, the coordinates will be there. So you can put objects exactly where you want them. And you may find that a little bit wonky, actually, now that I'm looking at this, because what we have here is the center line. Where do you want the center line? So if you were to ask me, I would say the center line of the table should be right down the middle of the flippers. But the problem is that in our 3D world that we build the game, the 0, 0, 0 central point of the entire map is actually right where that ball sits right now. So that is the 0 origin point in the 3D world that you see. And we base the game's saving of all the components and grabbers and everything on that coordinate. So we can't shift it at all. Now, if you go into cabinet mode and select a standard playfield, it might be a little bit more centered, but it's still going to be slightly off because where that's centered is between the edges of the wood of the playfield. But not in the case of the wide body exactly. It actually, maybe it is, but regardless of that, that's going to be the 0, 0 origin point for now anyways. So just keep that in mind if you're using this object location. So while I'm down here in this corner, I want to mention something. You're probably wondering what object text means, and it's only used in one of these objects, and that is this one down here, the text. So see how it says replace this text with your own? Once you spawn those, you can say, a lot when, actually, let's go burgers when lit. Yeah, there. Burgers when lit. So you get burgers when that's lit. Or when you're lit. I don't know. So you can move this around, and you can rotate it, and you can scale it like that, and you can use the scaler, the symmetry, and you can also select a color for your text if you want to. So you can use this plain text. We're working on getting some more fonts in here. Obviously, this is a very plain font, which is kind of nice for most things. But so if you get all these, you get burgers when lit. See, isn't that neat? So that's what that is, in case you were curious what this was for down here. And, unfortunately, that's going to still say burgers when lit even after we deselect. That's because we haven't thought about that too much. Okay, so let's see. What else do we have here that is new and exciting? Oh, yes. One thing that someone pointed out, thank you so much, is that the small flippers were the wrong scale on the left side. So now those are both the correct 2-inch flippers. So there you go. Those are fixed. And we do need to still limit this travel so it doesn't go past this way, because that'll just foobar your flippers. And you do not want foobarred flippers. No foobarred flippers. Let's see, what else? Anything else? Let me take a look. Yes. Okay, so the last thing, second to the last thing I want to show you is with regards to drop targets. So I want to just talk about these for a second. We have completely redone the logic for these, and now when you have if you have drop targets in your levels or playfields already, you're not going to see any behavior from them anymore. They're not going to reset automatically on their own. So now it's even better. You get to control their behavior with logic, and you have full control now, which is really nice. So I'm just going to leave that there. Basically, the way these work is they will not scale, but you can rotate them. And if you press the X key, it'll straighten them out perpendicular or whatever with the playfield. And you can, of course, move them. Now I'm going to move this one. I'm going to leave it basically right there. And I'm going to move the target reticle away from it so I can spawn another one right here. But before I do anything with it, I'm going to change the color of the first one. Let's go with a nice denim kind of blue. Now I'm going to grab the second one, and you notice they both have a little pip or a little chip or chevron or indicator at the top. That means that they are the master drop target for their bank. Obviously, there's two of them, two banks with one target each. So in order to add targets to a bank, it's so simple. You just spawn a target like I did. You grab it with the left mouse button so you can drag it. Then you hold the shift key down, and as you're dragging near another master drop target, it'll not only snap to it, but it'll change it to the same color, and it'll add it to that bank of targets. So I can go click, click, and now it looks like there's just one here, but I'm going to grab one of those two I just spawned, hold down shift, snap it to that, do the same here. And that gives me a bank of 4. And the nice thing is that, see, this one is marked, and that shows you how you can move them. You can grab these, and they move as subgroups of each. So you can spread them out, and they'll still move and rotate just the way you want them to. And if you want this to snap back, you just hold shift, and they'll snap right back to the next one in the row. Now, you might snap one in like this, and that could be bad because you have two targets right there. So just make sure you don't do that. Let's see. Also, I want to take this and do this stack like this. And I want to move this guy out of the way. And I'm going to move this above these. Okay, so what we're going to do now, and they don't snap in this orientation, just next to each other. So what we're going to do now is, before, when all the targets in a bank would drop, they would automatically reset on their own with a stock sound that would happen and all that. That's not going to happen anymore. So let's save and take a look at that real quick. And we'll see that nothing is going to happen. No points, no sounds, no nothing. The targets will drop, and we'll just watch that happen. All right. So let's just watch, and we'll see that they'll they reset at the end. So that's just how those are going to work if you don't apply any logic. So now what we're going to do is press 3 on the keyboard, and we're going to get these guys out of our way. And let's add a new one. It's already in here. It's called Drop Target or DT Bank 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this for the new event type of Drop Target Bank. Points only. For point value, we're going to be 1. And this eventually will say completion value. But for now, it's just when lit. And that's 10 points. So every time one of the targets drops, it's a point. And every time the whole bank is cleared and reset or whatever, or completed, it's 10 points. And we'll see that. And also, here's the single sound effect for one target. And here's the completion.
Complete.
Now, if we run this, nothing's going to happen because we haven't connected anything up. The first thing we need to do is tell this logic controller what targets we want it to look at to see if they're all down. So it's not going to be contingent on just the one. We need to go ahead and hold the left shift button down and then click on these targets. Select this guy. Let me show you that again. Select this logic controller, press shift, and then left click while you're holding shift down. And that'll add those there. And if you want, you can keep shift down and you can toggle whether or not one of these is attached. So now they're all what we call targets. So when you see target, let's see, do I have that in here somewhere? Target sound effect. Yeah, well, anyways, those are the targets. So now when this logic controller gets a signal from something, it's going to say, hey, I'm a drop target bank. Are all my targets down? No. Well, let's just score 1, and then otherwise we'll just keep on going. And then if they're all down, then it says, hey, complete. All right, here's your 10 points. And let's just leave this at the default of no. And now what we need to do is we need to trigger this logic controller. So to do that, I'm going to select each one of these guys. Let's see. What? I'm just wondering why my highlights are not gone, but it doesn't matter. I'll just select each one of these, and I'm going to select drop target bank 1. So every one of these that fires is going to send a fire signal or trigger signal to that logic controller, so that for every one of these that gets triggered by the ball knocking it down, it's going to send a signal to this. And now you can see the hookup. So unless you see a little bow tie of red and blue, then you have not set up your drop target bank correctly yet. Now you could also have that check from anywhere else. It could be another one of, another logic controller could, fire it or whatever. But this is the simple drop target method. Okay, so now I'm going to save this, and we're going to go to play mode where we can see our score and our drop targets. I'll start a game, and I'm just going to use a spawned ball to make it easy. And you'll see we're going to knock down each one of these 4 targets and get 1 point for each one. And then when they're all down, we'll get another 10 points. So we should have 14 points when that thing is reset. And you can see that it didn't reset. And can you guess why? So let's take a look. This is a test for you. I did that intentionally. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go press 3, go back into this mode, logic mode. I'm going to select that logic controller, and I'm just going to let you take a look at the logic editor panel on the left side and look at that and tell me, why didn't that do anything when all the targets went down? All right, are you ready? Yes, you are absolutely correct. Reset on completion says no, don't do anything when we're done here. So all you got to do is just say yes. And now that says, okay, when this says yes, I want these 10 points and this sound to play. And then boop, reset these. Wait, do I want to reset these? Yes, of course, because it says reset on completion. All right, we're going to save it, go back, press play, or go, or credit, or whatever that you want to call that. And now I'm going to spawn that ball.
Complete.
Boo-boo! Nice, huh? 14 points, all the targets are down, they reset, yabba dabba doo. All right, so that's the new drop target setup for logic and all that fun stuff. Okay, let's see, what else was there that I was going to show you? Oh yeah, I remember now. Okay, so let me load up a different game. We'll do Kaiju Battle, since that's just a standard width game, based on Gorgar, of course. All right. Let's see. What was I? Oh yeah. So you've probably been, if you've been messing around with PinBuilder a while now, you've probably noticed that when you build ramps, sometimes the ball will crash into them and stuff. And to be honest, those are very rudimentary ramps, and we are going to build much better ramps for the game in the near future. But I want to show you what we're working on to prep for that. So if you go into cabinet mode with the number 2 key on the keyboard, and you look here at the top, it says cabinet type. If you go deep 11B style, you get this deeper cabinet, as you can see right here. The cabinet is different, and let me toggle back to the standard. See there how those are different? And that is to accommodate a deeper playfield. So if I save this and go into play mode, now you may not, yeah, you can see it. There's some issues with textures. So this is something we're still working on. So don't hate on it. It's a work in progress, obviously. So, anyways, this is the deeper cabinet. So you can already start using the deeper cabinets if you want to start fleshing out more rampy related stuff. And yes, for those wondering, we are eventually going to add a second level that you can put mini playfields and things up there if you want. Right now, you could build a mini playfield on a wide body if you wanted to, or on a regular one. So it would just not be on a second level. But there you go. That's an option. So obviously, this isn't totally ready to roll with, but just wanted to let you know. And you'll experience some strange issues with this. If you try to use this cabinet type right now, you're going to see some weird stuff. So, for example, these are not going to, probably not going to locate correctly since we have some more work to do on this. But hey, by being in on the early access, you get to see all this funny, weird stuff. It's kind of fun. Oh yeah, here's another thing we're doing. We're adding the textures are all wrong because of the way the model is set up to handle material order. But you can see that we have a speaker added, and we now have a coin drawer, and we're going to continue adding details like that are important. But let's save this and go to play mode, and we'll see that those... actually, those might... No. See, our cabinet is different, so it's not behaving the way we want it to. Anyways, I just ruined Kaiju. Poor Kaiju. Let's see what else we got here. I really like these. I really like these lights. These lights are sweet. That's without the glass on, and that's with the glass on. And where glass may be a little bit too dark, because it really makes a big difference. But it sure does look nice. All right, so those are the main updates to the game as it stands right now, July 2nd, 2023. Those are hot and live right now. If you restart your Steam client, the game will self-update, and you'll have all that. You may want to take a look, and I just want to remind you that if you already have the game installed and you get an update and you still have the, let's say you have Kaiju Battle in your thing, in your folder or in your game, you've saved Kaiju Battle and you've been working on it, right? Well, it won't get overwritten anymore with any newer updates. So the updated versions that we create in-house will be included with the game. They'll be in the content folder in your install directory. So you can search for them in there. And you can copy them over your copies if you want to, but we decided and realized actually that it was not a good idea to overwrite your copies of the games that ship with the game, because you might have done something to them. And if that's true, well, we are deeply, deeply sorry for that. We know how that feels. Oh, how many pinball machines have we built in here, and they have just been deleted accidentally over the last several months. But that's a very rare problem. So now, anyways, and your settings files won't get overwritten. Nothing will get overwritten unless it doesn't already exist. So any new machines that ship, they should be added automatically, so you should see them appear. But there's updates to Paratrooper, which is the one you're looking at right now, and you're probably not going to care about any of that because it's just whatever. But any big games that we ship that are something special, we'll set those up separately so they will appear for you. And we did do a lot of work on the UI. We did endeavor to make our UI less wonky. Let's see, did I actually save that like that? Just an FYI for those of you still paying attention. Sometimes your cabinet textures and such won't load in. Just tab back out to play mode or whatever mode you're not in and tab back into the mode you want to be in, and they should appear. There seems to be some kind of hiccup sometimes, depending on I think disk activity or something like that it appears, and it depends on where your files are exactly located. So if your app data folder is on a network storage device for some reason, then this game will probably run a little bit slower or not pick up the images quite as fast as if they're local. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, we're not really quite sure. It's a third-party tool that we use for disk management or file management. So that's that. All right. I can't think of anything else I was going to say. Let me just show you something here real quick in case you're wondering what this is at the top here up in this corner. Let's see. We have a lot of different things that may have... Hey, see there, where are all my sounds? Those should be in there, right? Those aren't in there. Let's see what's going on here. Tab back out. Tab back in. And... See, it's strange. I don't know why it does that. All right, but I want to show you this. So if I type alien here, and now I look down here, the only things other than default that show are going to be anything with the word alien in it. So nothing else has alien in it except, some of these things. All right, so anyways, that is how you use that. And then if you want to clear that, just click that X right there, and that will clear it back out. So if I go put kaiju, whoops, I better click on it. Kaiju. Kaiju is Japanese for monster. That's the word for monster. Kaiju. And did you know that the actual Japanese word for Godzilla is Gojira? Gojira. Gojira. There's a metal band called Gojira too, which is pretty freaking amazing. Anyways, I'm digressing like crazy. Okay, so see, it's just going to filter every one of these by, I think, yeah, that's weird. That doesn't have the filter on it, apparently. Well, see, it's good to do videos because then you go through more stuff than you normally would, and you discover, hey, that seems not right. All right, anyways, you guys, I think we're done here. We really appreciate your support and your love for our game. We are just having such a blast building this, and we really enjoy the camaraderie and the interaction with you guys too. It really means a lot to us over here, and we are just loving what we do. This is all we do, and we just can't express how grateful we are for your support and your compassion and passion for this game. It's just entirely heartwarming. So thank you for that. And go get that update and have some fun tonight and make a pinball machine. Bye.